Collapsed, injuring 3 people. Right now, you are looking at video that was sent to us by a Fox 13 viewer moments after this collapse happened. You can see there is at least 1 woman on the ground in this video. Good evening, everyone. I'm Darcy Thomas.
And I'm Daniel Wilkerson. Daryl Green has the night off. This all happened at the Peppertree Apartments, an apartment complex that we have done many stories on.
You know, right now, let's go straight to Fox 13's Lakia Scott. She joins us live from Methodist South, where the victims were taken.
Lakia, you just spoke with a man who says he is one of the victims' father.
That's right, Daniel, Darcy. Now, they were just walking across that walkway when it just suddenly collapsed, unexpected. Of course, that happened at the Peppertree Apartments here in Whitehaven. Let's take a look at that video. Now, they were walking across that walkway, and it just caved in. It happened at about 4 o'clock this afternoon. 3 people were injured, I'm told, according to the witnesses that I spoke with here at the complex. Now, the video shows the moments after that collapse. You can see that there's debris, cement planks are covering the ground, and what stands out the most is the people who are lying on the ground. Now, one man, you can see him lying on his back, obviously in a lot of pain there, and it appears that there were at least 2 other people on the ground around him as well. Now, first responders were there as well, but as you told me, as you spoke, Daniel, I did speak with the father of one of the victims, a 14-year-old girl, and that father told me that he wasn't fully sure of his daughter's condition.
I know her legs might be, saying when I seen her legs was real swole, so I don't know if they broke, I don't know. I just know they real swole.
All right, again, that's the father of one of the 14-year-old victims who was injured when that walkway collapsed. Now, coming up in about half an hour, we'll hear more from that father as he tells me that he's been working to try to find out more about the condition of his daughter, but he says that they won't allow him to see her just yet. So I'll get more information for you guys coming up. Daniel, Darcy.
Okay, good report. Thank you so much. That is Fox 13's Lakia Scott reporting for us tonight.